Bill, you once said that artificial intelligence was the industry that if you could really crack that, you could create a company that was worth 10 Microsofts. Everybody has tended to think that that company would probably end up being an American company. The United States dominates big technology. But the Chinese government has laid out a very systematic, concerted, and massively funded effort to dominate artificial intelligence. Are they going to win the race to dominate artificial intelligence?
Well, no. The American companies, including Microsoft, but also Google, Facebook, and others, are in the lead. And U.S. academia is in the lead. And so the Chinese are participating in this revolution. In fact, a lot of the technology is very open technology. Most of the academic work is published soon after it's done. So everyone, things like speech understanding, vision, everyone understands that. If somebody's better, it's modestly better, and usually they'll publish how they achieve that. This is a very key technology. It's going to make industries more efficient. It'll be used by the military, and the U.S. historically has had its military more connected to new technical breakthroughs than any other country. Here, the Chinese are probably going to do it as fast, hopefully not faster, than the U.S. does. So it raises a lot of questions. It will reshape the job market, but the U.S. has a strong lead in this. China's number 2.
I would imagine that Donald Trump's America First agenda is not exactly the way you look at the world. I mean, I look at the work your foundation does, huge amounts of it outside America. What do you think of America First?
Well, America First, if you view it very narrowly, would say, we should leave NATO, we should drop foreign aid to zero, we should get out of the United Nations. But then all these global problems, whether it's instability or pandemics or economic alignment that allows our exports to work well, the U.S. will be worse off. But that's the debate we're having now, that when we say, it's good to help Africa, you have to prove that eventually benefits Americans.
Again, your optimism. I want to come back to that and ask you about another another reason why I wonder whether there's some cause for pessimism, which is climate change. A lot of the other issues that people worry about, I think your answer would be, yeah, these are problems, but there are human solutions to it. There are ways in which human beings are already solving these problems. With something like climate change, isn't it a large enough problem? Isn't it so deeply structural? And the response seems pretty limited at this point when you consider India and China growing and all the new carbon being thrown into the atmosphere. Doesn't that make you a little pessimistic?
Well, climate change, remember, my optimism is not that we can just sit back and things will take care of themselves. My optimism is based on the fact that, particularly those who are successful will put their time and resources into taking problems that, in the case of climate change, the big negative is far out, that today they'll fund the research and the policies. So we'll get serious about this. It was a setback to have the U.S. withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords. A lot of the R&D recommendations for the Department of Energy wouldn't fund some of the advances that I think are important. But I still believe that the world at large will come up with innovations that will let us decarbonize the energy and transport sectors. Now, we need a lot of innovation in these next 20 years because it takes a long time between when you invent something and it gets fully deployed in those systems.
And you don't seem to be despairing at the fact that you don't have as strong a partner in the federal government as maybe you had. And I'm not trying to get you to say, I know you're being careful, but it would seem to me that Trump, America First, the priorities of Scott Pruitt on energy. This is all stuff you don't like.
No, the climate change stuff, absolutely. The Congress controls the eventual spending, and they've maintained the commitment to foreign aid. They chose not to cut foreign aid. And I'm hopeful that will happen again, that they'll see that our saving lives of people with HIV and treating malaria, that our values, the relationships, the health systems you build up that would stop pandemics from coming to the United States, that $30 billion, which is a very small portion, well under 1% of our budget, that will be preserved.
Do you think in that context the last tax bill made sense, where the benefits of the bill disproportionately went to people like you?
Your basic point is correct. It was not a progressive tax bill. It was a regressive tax bill. People who are wealthier tended to get dramatically more benefits than the middle class or those who are poor. And so it runs counter to the general trend you'd like to see, where the safety net is getting stronger and those at the top are paying higher taxes.
You'd be okay paying higher taxes?
No, I need to pay higher taxes. I've paid in absolute more taxes, over $10 billion, than anyone else, but the government should require the people in my position to pay significantly higher taxes.